everybody, it's Rain, and in today's video we're going to be processing Gouda, and I am excited. So first off, I have my little hydroponic baskets that I use to wash my locks individually, and I have mesh laundry bags. These are the main two ways that I'm going to be washing this fleece. Today's video I'm just going to be showing you the locks in the basket. I got these little baskets in the outdoor section at my local Lowe's. They were around $2 a piece. So the first thing we need to do before we put our fleece in the wash is to separate it out into manageable batches. Now you can use mesh laundry bags and just grab handfuls and throw them in there, and I do that with some of this fleece. But the really nice locks, since this fleece has such a nice long staple length, about a 4-inch or longer staple, we're going to go ahead and separate out as many locks as we can and wash it that way, just because it'll be a lot more organized. So in an ideal situation, you would want to be able to spread this entire fleece out and be able to get a good look at all of it. But I just didn't have the room right now to be able to spread it out completely. So we're just going to kind of pull bits and pieces out of the bag, just like this. And here's some really nice locks. And all I'm doing here is just grabbing handfuls, as you can see right here, that they grow in lock structures. So you can just grab pieces off, just like I did there, and I kind of break it apart a little bit so that the water and the soap can penetrate and it can get in and get all of that lanolin dissolved. Now, one of the reasons why I got this fleece is because it has virtually no VM and no matted tips. That's one of my arch nemesis is those matted dirty tips. I absolutely hate dealing with those. They're so time consuming. So I was so happy with this fleece. Literally a quick flick and that's it. No matted tips to deal with. Here is some really nice locks right there. And this is probably one of the nicest fleeces I have ever processed in terms of VM and just cleanliness. Very clean, very nice. Let me go ahead and tell you what the breed is. She is kind of a mishmash. She is 1/4 Rambouillet, 1/4 East Frisian, 1/4 Finn, and 1/4 Dorset. This is a 5-pound fleece, about a 4-inch staple length, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So here's what we have so far. As you can see, it's quite a lot. Here's the really dirty stuff. It's bagged up. We're going to wash that separately and deal with it later. And then we got 2 almost half full mesh laundry bags. This trash bag is still full of fleece, and then we have 4 baskets of locks. So we are going to focus on these 4 baskets of locks today and get those knocked out, and we'll deal with the little bit dirtier of the locks that are in the mesh laundry bag a little bit later. I love using this clear ivory dish soap. It is my favorite, and I also have some really cheap on sale dishwashing liquid, but it does not work nearly as well as the ivory. And a good use for your old pumpkin scoopers from Halloween is to stir your fleece water. It works very well. So I have the hottest possible water from my tap, and I went ahead and added the soap already, as you've seen. And then we just add our fleece and cover it for 20 minutes. Don't let it get cold because the lanolin can re-solidify. That's a very important tip. There is our dirty water from our first scour. So we're going to take those out, give them a little press, and it will drain the water out. And then I just take my locks out, give them a little squeeze, don't wring them or anything, and I'm just breaking them apart so that the water and soap can penetrate and get to those locks that are on the inside, because it gets quite heavy and quite compacted. And always use a bucket if you're using any type of method like I am, where you need to dump your water, because you do not want to hurt your back just by picking up a huge heavy tote of water like that. Always use a smaller bucket to empty it out before you empty it completely. This is after our first wash. As you can see, the tips are still relatively lined up. Locks are still a nice structure. All we did was open it up a little bit so that it could penetrate further. At least in my experience, you really have to break up those locks to be able to get rid of all of the lanolin. If you have a really fine fleece, you can check out my video in the I'll link it here, the playlist and the video. And we let that soak for 20 minutes, and the water is still really hot. So I'm going to show you a little tip. Remember, this is our second wash, so there's still going to be a tiny amount of lanolin left in the water. The water is still really hot. You only do this if the water is still really hot. I added more soap and I added more of the hottest water from the tap. Here is a comparison, 2 washes versus unwashed. So instead of pouring all that water out with just a little lanolin, I'm going to go ahead and reuse it. Cover that 25 minutes, and here is our second set of baskets after their first wash. And as you can see, I just have my first set that still needs to be rinsed over on the side. As long as you lower your water temperature, you should be able to rinse it a little later, and you should be fine with felting or anything. Now here's a more close-up view of how I pull apart my locks while I'm washing them. You want to be really careful. If you have a fine fleece, just do a small batch. Make sure you're not going to felt it. And just be really gentle and check and see how much your fleece can take before you do a big batch like this. Dorset is a pretty hardy breed, so I'm not really worried about felting it. It shouldn't felt. So we washed that all out. Here is 1 wash versus 2 washes. As you can see, the 2 washes one is a little bit more white, and there is the water from the second wash of the second batch. So now moving on, we're going to go ahead and rinse. And this water is not as hot as it can go. It's relatively still warm, but not all that hot, just to rinse with. So I rinsed all of my baskets. I ended up rinsing them both twice and gave a little shake and a little squeeze, and we are ready to spin dry. This is absolutely not necessary. If you want to, you can take a towel and lay your fleece out on that, roll it up and stand on it or step on it or sit on it, however you need to do it, and that will get most of the excess water out. I just prefer to use my spin dryer. I just hate dealing with wet towels in general. So I just use my spin dryer. And this is my little setup. Usually I do this in the bathroom, but to be able to record it nicely, I did it in here on the carpet, and I just had a bucket for my dirty water and all that. Hey, if you've made it this far, don't forget to leave me a like down below. It really helps out the videos. And comment on what you would like to see next. And remember, if you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification so you'll get notified of my videos I post every week. And then after I spin it out, I just take it and get it into manageable chunks, line up the tips, and lay it out to dry. And through the magic of YouTube, we now have a fully dry basket of Gouda fleece. Look at these gorgeous locks. So all we need to do now is flick those tips and flick those cut ends, and we will be good to comb. So I just take a few locks together in my hand like so, and make sure the tips are nice and lined up at the very edge, and I will just gently flick the tips out over a little bucket or basket or trash bin so that all the little dirty VM bits go into the trash bin, and that will make it nice and white. It'll just have a slightly off-white color. This fleece is gorgeous, not very much dirt in those tips at all. And I will give it a little twist sometimes, especially for the cut ends, because the cut ends can be a little bit harder to flick open than the tip ends. Just because they can get a little bit more matted together and can have some little flakies and dandruff bits in there. And then I will take the extra, and you can use it as stuffing or filling. Don't throw it away. And here we go. This is ready to comb. So I'm going to lay that in my little basket, and as you can see, the tips just have a slightly off-white color that completely goes away when you comb it, at least for me in my experience. And we are ready to comb some of this fluffy gorgeousness. Can't wait. So now we are ready to comb. And I'm going to take a nice little handful of locks, just like so, and lash it down onto our combs. And just go across there nice and evenly. And I kind of pull out so that I can get every last little piece lined up nice and evenly. So you guys will have to let me know if you like these type of videos, if you like me washing it and combing it all in the same video, so you get the instant gratification of the raw all the way to the combed finished product. Or let me know if you would rather me go a little slower and do the washing in one video and the combing and processing in another. So we lashed it all on, and now we are going to start combing. And with these longer stapled fleeces, you definitely want to use your other hand that's not holding the comb to very carefully brush back the fiber, just like that. You brush it away from the teeth so that it doesn't start laying up against the teeth and getting static built up in there. And that can tangle up your fiber, and you definitely don't want that. I like to use some of this Downy Wrinkle Releaser. It's an odor eliminator and a static reducer, and it works really, really well for reducing static while you're combing. And it smells good too. Or you can also just use plain water. I don't like using any kind of oils or lotions or like oil and water mixed together or conditioner on my fleeces. I like to just use plain water or a little bit of the static reducer. We're going to pull away from the bottom a little bit. This isn't necessary. I just like to do it. And then I will tease the back a little bit on the back end of those combs. Just makes it a little bit fluffier and easier to pull off when we go to diz it. And now my favorite part, dizzing our fiber off. This is a handmade diz. I make them. This one's a little worse for wear. Me and my kids made this one. It was one of the first ones I ever made. But I have some really, really nice ones on Etsy if you would like one. The link is down in the description for my Etsy shop. And I am excited to say that we will also be having some Gouda in our shop for sale. I think I'm going to offer, for sure, combed top. I don't know if I'm going to offer any locks. Would y'all like me to offer any locks that are just flicked and ready to comb? Or do you want just combed top? Would you like it dyed any certain colors? Just let me know down below if you have any interest for it, and I will do my best to list some Gouda in your choice of colors. And also, we're going to be making a video on dyeing your hand dizzed comb top to see how it holds up. So please give me a big thumbs up if you want to see those videos in the future. And here is our dizzed top. And I was very, very impressed with this fiber. It is so soft and bouncy. Look at that. It is just a gorgeous fiber. And it's very, very unique. It's a mishmash of those different fibers, the East Frisian, Rambouillet, Dorset. It has a lot of breeds in it and is a very unique fiber. And I hope you can get your hands on some of it in Etsy. I'll be listing that in the next day or two, so keep your eyes peeled for that if you would like some Gouda fiber to play with yourself. So there is our finished combed top. It is gorgeous. I bet it would make a lovely sock yarn. Let me just show you this bounce from that Dorset. Very nice bounce. Nice long staple. Love this fleece. And it was a joy to process. So here's what I have so far. I'm working on more as we speak. And I will see you guys next week. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I'll talk to you on Instagram and Facebook soon. Bye-bye. You can see the difference in. Woo! One more rinse and we are done. Woohoo! Look at that nasty water.